American Airlines filed Chapter 11 today, and in the other room, the stock is apparently halted trading, never really opened today. I'm here with Teddy Weisberg from Seaport Securities. So Teddy, really the silver lining in this story, which one, it's terrible that a company went bankrupt, but they had avoided doing that while the other airlines did go bankrupt, but the airlines were able to restructure their labor costs, and American Airlines is really struggling with the highest labor costs of any airline.
Well, and therein lies the problem. Without getting into a conversation about the benefits of unions and the corporate America, we've seen it in the airline sector continually as these companies over the years. Some of them have gone bankrupt twice, but it's basically to get out underneath the labor costs. We saw it with General Motors, to get underneath the labor costs and start all over again. In that case, the government simply took it over. One can only hope that they'll, start off with a clean slate. We happen to own some of the airlines, and we've talked about that in the past because the airlines are, to me, just a contra way of playing oil. But it's unfortunate also because I think they said, as recently as 2 or 3 months ago, that bankruptcy was not in the offering, and it reminds us, I guess, it should always remind all of us that in spite of what analysts say, in spite of what companies say, that at the end of the day, the stocks never lie, and cheap stocks are cheap for a reason. I know we all tend to think we're going to find a diamond in those lumps of coal, and that's perhaps what keeps us gravitating back to those kind of low-priced securities. But the fact is that stocks, in fact, never, ever lie, and the market never lies. And it's just a matter of time till we find out the reason. In the case of American Airlines, it was this bankruptcy.
You mentioned that your holdings of airline stocks as an oil play. Where do you think that oil's going?
Well, I don't understand why oil sells at $100 a barrel. Because based on supply and demand, my suspicion is it's clearly way overpriced. But there are other factors. There the geopolitical. Nobody seems to want to talk about the Middle East anymore. Somehow or other, it's not on the headlines. But I mean, that is continues to be a cauldron of uncertainty and intrigue and endless problems. So a lot of the price in oil is a risk. There's a risk premium based on geopolitical factors. I would have to think on supply and demand alone, oil is probably way overpriced. But we've been dealing with this dynamic going back over almost 15 years. So I don't know where oil's going. We own a bunch of energy stocks because I think long term, that's a sector that you want to have exposure to. Just like you want to have, exposure to the tech sector. But since nobody has a crystal ball, especially me, we try to hedge our oil exposure. And to me, one of the ways to do it is with the airlines because they're completely beaten down. We don't happen to own American. I mean, we only own one, which is United Continental.
Has this move helped your holdings?
Well, no. I mean, actually, United Continental's trading below it's around $17. I mean, it's on paper looks ridiculously cheap, but the reality is there's probably nobody alive that's ever made money in the airline sector. It's the worst. You mention airline stocks to people, and they basically they shut their eyes and look the other way. And then they laugh behind your back, and I don't blame them because it's of all the sectors to get exposure to, it's probably the worst. But it's also interesting, and for us, it's just it's a contra oil play.
All right, so you heard it from Teddy. Not so much in the airlines for the airlines being well-run companies, but as an oil play.